Today we're here to look at achievements. You would have seen that achievements is a brand new feature on EdApp. It's an addition to our suite of tools around gamification and engagement. And in my eyes, an incredible add-on to your learning programs. Obviously, we can talk about the critical stuff, the really boring functional stuff like deep linking and search functionality in the platform, analytics, et cetera, of which we talk about quite a lot. But achievements is a bit of a different tact. It's all about getting your learners hooked, getting them very much immersed in the content that you deliver to them, giving them another reason to come back to the application. And today we're going to discuss, firstly, I guess the rationale for why we've introduced this functionality and the basics around setting it up. Secondly, we're going to go into the live demo and actually show you how to do it yourself. So if you have your own EdApp account or you're thinking about setting one up after this call, you can jump in and go and play around with those configurations and see something actual in your accounts. And then the third piece here is to look at some specific industries. We haven't covered every industry just due to time, but we want to talk about achievements in relation to certain industries, just to give a bit of context so that it feels a bit more real and you can start to brainstorm achievements for your own business use cases.
Luke, just before, I'm just going to say, I'm going to be here supporting from a kind of Q&A perspective. So if anyone does have any questions or comments as they work through, then, please feel free to drop those in. We'll try and make this interactive. Always happy just to take your questions and spend more time looking at any given element. So yeah, it's participative, so participate.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Jamie. I intend to get a bit more out of you than just that. So I'll be
really okay.
All right. Well, as well.
I thought that was it. I thought that was my star turn. I'll just come in, do that bit, and then I'm out.
I've got you on the line. So let's kick off, guys. Before we get into the mechanics of our delivery achievements, we wanted to just show some highlights of other applications, which I'm sure many of you have on your phones. Uber, for example, I would be surprised if anyone doesn't have that application. But we wanted to talk about their use of achievements, and really to get you thinking about, okay, well, I have these apps on my phone and I use them ongoing. How do they motivate and inspire me to come back to these applications and try my best and really deliver optimal performance? The first screenshots in the middle there are actually from my Nike running application, which I use as much as possible. And for me personally, the achievements in that platform are a huge motivator. You can see there in the very center, you ran 3 weeks in a row, which is a streak for me. So these sorts of little hooks and graphical displays to the learner are very, very impactful. And subsequently, when we get into EdApp's version of achievements, hopefully you start to see the same themes come through. Jamie, do you use the Uber Rewards app? Have you ever seen that capability?
I'm not going to take this as a personal aspersion here that you would assume that I don't have the running app, but I do have Uber Eats, right? I hear you. Yeah, I think that this is predominant in lots of different apps at the moment. Duolingo, I think, does a really good, nice job of giving badges and rewards. And yeah, I think it's really reached a kind of popular crescendo, right? I think everyone understands the motivation and engagement elements that badges give. And I think we've jumped on the bandwagon, I'm super excited so far. All the firms that have been using it, have actually seen a definite uptick in engagement. So yeah, super cool.
Awesome. Brilliant. So now that we've discovered, I guess, where we've come to and its value in every application, let's talk about why achievements or how they can boost your program. Firstly, engaging your audience, just getting them hooked and giving them a reason to come back, as I said before. Number two here, amplifying behaviors in the business that are defined by the achievements that you put together. So the product champion example on the right-hand side of this screen is a perfect example in retail. So if you are in retail yourself, you probably use this term toward your top employees to call them product champions, because they go in every day and they endorse the brand and your portfolio of products very, very well. And subsequently, the ability to instill those titles in your learning solution will further bring those two elements together. The second point here about bringing cohesion to your learning pathway is one where we're talking about, okay, an achievement doesn't have to be a big thing all the time. It can be as small as opening the app or completing a single course. So we love this idea of commemorating steps on the way to a larger goal. If you have a 10-week program, if you stagger out those achievements, then learners will feel like they're progressing, and you'll get them excited to think about the next achievement as they come through.
I think
Yeah, go ahead, Jamie.
it really just aligns as well with the kind of micro learning strategy more broadly, which is about giving your learners consumable pieces that they can, learn in the flow of work without having to go and dedicate, big blocks of time to. And it's about those little wins, isn't it? And so I think this is just a really neat way. If you're thinking, for example, about a course that had lots of different component parts, perhaps 10 lessons, a discussion, an assignment, a virtual meeting, being able to reward and recognize someone being motivated, continuing to engage with the platform, developing themselves, perhaps 2, 3, 4 lessons in, they get a badge and a reward. It's just a really nice way of just, like I say, giving that recognition and some reward for good hard work.
Awesome. And then the final thing there, all about branding. So this is one of the key questions that we get about the platform all the time is, how can I introduce branding to make the environment feel like my own? And this is an extension of many of the features that we already have in the platform to deliver branding. And we'll show you in the demo in a second what this looks like in conjunction with branded courseware. Okay, jumping on to the next slide here, common uses. So obviously lifting morale and boosting performance is a no-brainer here. Engagement features are about getting the most out of the training that you deliver. But beyond that, we also think that there's some really practical uses for this feature: internal recognition and credentials. And then subsequently, if you want to go that one step further, even perhaps tying it to financial incentives or pay increases is something that I've heard from customers as an opportunity. Do you agree with that, Jamie?
Yeah, I'm all in for pay increases. if you can let Darren know what we'll do, our CEO, what we'll do is we'll just create a bunch of badges, hot tail through the learning, get those badges and see what we can do about getting a pay rise. Yeah, look, I think anything, right? These are just, micro credentials are really popular. Within many organizations, learning strategies is a good way of recognizing developmental milestones, and as you've said, it's a good way of being able to track back and actually, if you are thinking about someone's commitment over a period of years, so perhaps an annual review or biannual review, being able to show, look, this is what I'm doing, this is the effort that I've made, these are the badges that I've collected. Absolutely, I think that's all part of the kind of rich tapestry of information that you can lean into to make a decision about whether you promote someone, give them more recognition, pay them a bit more.
Yeah, for sure. What we're trying to portray with these screenshots here is basically this scenario: if we're in customer service or in a retail hospitality setting, perhaps you're delivering a service basics course, and then your subsequent achievement is a service starter. And you can see there in the little subtitle, you're ready to talk to customers. So actually using language to tell learners that this course equals this outcome. And, you know, as we said, potentially maybe a pay increase as well. Default versus custom. So when we get into the demo, you'll see that there are default achievements out of the box that you can just enable, like this one here, skilled. You're skilled because you've completed 50 courses. And then on the right-hand side, the idea of custom or branded achievements, where you can actually go in, reshape the images, the coloration, the text, to create a series of achievements that speak to your organization. So both are really powerful, and we'll show you how to set up them. Okay, so if we're talking about custom achievements, then how do you configure them? And again, we'll show you this in the tool, but there are 5 options to choose from when you're configuring custom achievements, and they're based on recipes. So the first option is completion. So yes, I want learners to complete said course to earn a certain achievement. Quite simple. Here we think the advantage of this particular option is primarily about boosting completion rates. And this is obviously one of the biggest pain points, right? A lot of reasons why organizations come to EdApp, because with their existing LMS platforms, the engagement is not there, and subsequently no one is doing their training, and that sometimes puts us in hot water. Number 2 there, scoring, Jamie. How do you see that being valuable as the scoring option for earning an achievement?
Yeah, again, like I think it's just, you know, if you're thinking rather than at a course level around whether someone has or hasn't achieved the whole course, again, you know, like giving someone a target to not just meet the minimum in a lesson, but overachieve and hit that 100%. Again, you know, that can be a unique badge, and therefore that achievement could be something that they can only get to if they go really hard, focus on the learning and make sure.
Yeah.
And actually, I should say, with these things, it can be a kind of a generic score of 100% on any one given lesson or course, but you can actually define which lesson as well, right?
Yeah.
So you know, you can become quite targeted in this, and the neat thing is for the learners themselves, in their profile, they're going to see all the empty badges that they need to achieve, and they're going to see what the recipe is, what they need to do to get there. So for those like me and probably Luke who are quite competitive, you know, if there's a badge that we can achieve to get one up on each other, then we're going to try and do that. And if that means getting 100% in that lesson, then that's what we're going to do. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think the next functionality that we should explore with this is sharing your achievements to Slack so that we can get in there and do a bit of boasting.
Yeah. I like that idea.
Number 3 there, earning. So earning is all about the metric or the value in our platform called stars. Stars is a way of attributing success to a learner, and it's also the virtual currency that we use to play in a game called Real Rewards, which is an optional feature in the platform to give away incentives to learners. So it ties in there. Earning is really just a very nice way to get learners hooked. Again, if they're earning stars, they're getting achievements, featuring high on the leaderboard. All of these things are great reasons for learners to come back to the app. Number 4 there, opening the app. This is really simple and I think very, very strong. Just simply tying achievements to opening the app, whether it's just once or over a series of time. This means that learners will be instilled with the idea that they need to come back and revisit training. And if it's something like safety, for example, where you want to deliver top of mind knowledge about key things in the workplace that really have an impact, getting learners back into the app to revisit content is pretty exciting, I think.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Luke. I was just going to say, you know, the other thing is, like, I think what we see consistently from all the data is that when learners do open the app, they're almost certainly going to go and do something, right? And you know, again, just just giving them a reward for kind of coming and keeping it in their mind, to come and use EdApp, and then you know, the kind of practical, consumable nature of our learning just means that more often than not, by just getting them in the right place, getting them in the room, they're going to go and explore and do something. And ultimately with EdApp, because all learning is so targeted, that something is going to help you to achieve your commercial, operational, strategic objectives, or whatever they are.
Awesome. Yeah, really good point there for sure. And then number 5, combining these various options to deepen gamification and deepen the outcomes. So now that we've set the stage here, hopefully everyone understands why we've delivered achievements and potentially how they can be valuable. Let's now go into the tool and show you how it's done so that you can go and do it yourself. So I'm just going to flip over here to a new tab. And this here is the EdApp admin and authoring tool. Many of you would have seen it before. And then up the top here, under the Engage tab, we've got the achievements section. Just before I go in there, sorry, I'll just go back to courses for anyone that is super new. What we've got in this test account is a series of courses that have come from our library. They span different industries, just to give you a flavor of different industries today. So courses around hospitality, for example, or might be valuable in hospitality, retail, construction, and so on. So we'll use these courses to then trigger our achievements. In this tab over here, I've just got the learner experience put together. And the learner experience is a fully responsive one. So you can see in the desktop browser here, if I resize, it will subsequently resize the content and look beautiful every time. We're going to use the learner experience to show you, okay, if we've set up an achievement from an admin perspective, how does that translate for a learner? So this gives us kind of a window into both worlds. But let's click over here to achievements and get into it. So as we said before, there are custom achievements, and these are some fun ones that we put together ahead of the webinar. I have to say we probably went overboard with the puns, but we'll get there.
Get a badge for making enough badges there. I was just going to say, Luke, Jessica did drop in with a question, just asking about stars, and she wanted to know about how learners would know what stars they'd achieve. So I'm going to take a crack at answering that. I know Luke's been around the block a lot longer than I have, so he can tell me whether I'm answering this correctly. But
I can show you in the demo in a second.
Oh, okay. Let's do that.
We actually get into the course here. You can see the star count in the top right. Yeah. I'll show you when we complete a lesson, you'll see that go up. So I think that will give a bit of clarity there.
Good man.
Back to the puns. So we've got custom achievements here, and we'll have a look at each of these that we've set up and talk about the industries that they're built for. Below that, if you guys have just opened an account or you haven't seen this feature before, basically you will arrive on a screen with all of these default achievements here. So beginner, for example, complete one course, super simple. We can see that it's live. We can see that 7 users in this account have taken that achievement this far. And as we scroll down, we see different combinations and options used to configure achievements: complete one lesson, complete 100 courses, score 100% in a lesson, earn 10 stars, for example. So you can see the different combinations here. And when you're setting up your own achievements, if you want a guide or perhaps some creative copy, feel free to copy paste and get some inspiration here. But let's have a look at creating a new achievement. How do we do that? And then we'll circle back and look at those custom options. So when you create a new achievement, it's really quite simple. Give it a title. I'll save the puns and I'll just go for something very simple here. the superstar or the champion, or, you know, if we're talking about EdApp, maybe it's the EdApp learning hero. Obviously, the creativity with naming and styling really, you know, is up to you.
I'll give
If
you a
you
pass on that one, Luke, because it's only 7:22. I was expecting something more creative, but as it's 7:22, we'll let you get away with superstar.
perhaps at the end of the webinar, I'll give you.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's 4 tabs here. Achievers are those that have gained the achievement thus far. Obviously, this is brand new, so it's empty. The recipe is the criteria for earning this achievement. The styling is what the learner will see when they earn it. And then translation, if you're supporting multiple languages and markets and you want that translated to different languages. Let's start on styling just because it's graphical and perhaps it will help us tell the story. So you can upload your own image or pull together an image in Canva and drop it in. There's also a few default options to choose from if you don't want to go that far. You can see here that the color scheme can be light or dark depending upon your branding. And then if we select here with this color palette, we can then adjust the color that sits outside of the image itself. And you'll see in some custom examples in a second how that can be used to great effect. And then finally, the message down the bottom is reiterating to the learner what they've achieved, how they got there. Yeah, just really anything that you want to put in there to encourage the learner that this is a great milestone and perhaps there's something upcoming. So make it personal if you have the time and you want to. The recipe is probably the other key part, the other most important part of setting up. And here you can see those different options that we spoke about before. So let's just play out some basic scenarios for our superstar, our new superstar badge. So if we say perhaps we want the learner to complete just one course once. So this simply means that the learner needs to open the app, they need to complete any course in their account, and they will earn this achievement. Or we can play around with this variable here and say, okay, I want them to complete one course for 1 week or for 2 weeks. So you can add in those additional configurations to perhaps make it a bit more challenging, or as we were saying before, give learners a reason to come back. If we go here to select a specific course, this is where we make it a bit more precise. So instead of just saying, hey, just come in and complete one course, you can go through your library of content that we saw just a second ago and say, okay, in order to get the superstar achievement, you need to complete confined spaces. So that's a lot more precise. The final thing here is completing one lesson once or weekly. So just the same sort of configuration as we were just looking at on the course level. So it gives you that option.
And that's, you could also, you know, I guess you could put 2 or 3 courses together. Perhaps they've got a common theme around safety or.
Whoa, Jamie.
have I blown it? Should I not have said that?
I love to keep things simple, but yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Oh, I like to make things convoluted and complicated. It makes me look more intelligent to people. So yeah, but yeah, like I think this is nice, right? Because it just gives you that freedom to set the boundaries really low if you want to. If you just want to give some recognition, just to, you know, to show that you care that people are getting started and they're giving it a go, right up to, you know, like being actively recognizing people kind of going above and beyond, right, in terms of engagement and completion and scores and things like that.
Awesome. Yeah, totally. The second option is scoring. So as we suggested, this is the requirement for a learner to score a 100% score on a specific course. or or just an individual course or an individual lesson. So if we go to specific course here, again, perhaps it's 100% on the Adidas lesson here, course lesson. The third option, if we just delete that one, is earn. So earning stars, as we said before, really quite simple. Earning a certain specific number of stars to earn the achievement, or again, specifying that over a series of weeks or days, up to you. And then the final option is opening the app. So open it once, daily or weekly for 4 weeks. I think a really simple thing to set up, something very digestible for your audience to understand that they need to be coming back to the app. And I've even heard customers tie this in with our feature Rapid Refresh, for example. Rapid Refresh is this whole idea of a very easy way to provide quizzes to learners to assess knowledge gaps. They can be one-off quizzes, or they can be quizzes set over a specific cadence. So you could have a quiz every Friday to learners, and potentially also wrap this achievement into that. So opening the app every week could be a great way to reinforce the idea that learners should be coming back on Fridays. Totally up to you. This option here for achievers, let's have a look at this one, because we don't have any data on this achievement just yet. It's better explained by looking at another one. So we've got this custom achievement here, goal kicker. You can see that 5 people have earned this thus far. If we click over here to achievers, we can see the list of achievers. You can see this is a bit of activity from yesterday's webinar. And the great thing here is that you can export this content to CSV if you like. Practical outcomes of this that come to mind for me are obviously if you want to pull that information out and potentially reward those learners. I'm sure there's many other things that are able to be done with it as well. If we just expand this out, you can see the date and time that they received that achievement. Any thoughts there, Jamie? Have I covered it?
Sorry, I was just reading Andre's message here. Love to hear from you, Andre, by the way. So Andre has asked, can you export who achieved which award? And I think, yes, we've just demonstrated that. If you set a goal for learners and need to export as an XLS, allowing a regional manager, for example, to chase down users who did not achieve their set quarterly goals. So I think the question was really just around manager reporting. That might be a tough question because I don't know the answer, but are you able to, in the same way that we can give partition reporting for managers around performance dashboards, are they able to see achievements for team members in their teams? Do you know?
They can't. So this view that we're looking at right now is just a super admin view.
Okay. Yeah.
So yes, managers can access their own manager reports to view completion data.
Yeah.
But that at this very point in time isn't tied in with the achievements.
All right. So I think it will definitely be something that we do, because we try to ensure that managers get a comprehensive view of all activity, but at this stage, just to be clear there, that's something that the administrator would do, and on demand they could provide reports, and then obviously they could slice and dice them according to different audiences if they wanted to share them out, right?
Yep. Exactly. Perhaps iteration 2 we'll see that feature come out. So now that we've looked at the basics, let's jump in and have a look at specific industries and give a bit of context to all of the puns that we've got in the platform. So firstly, we wanted to hone in on retail and hospitality. Hopefully, many of you on this call are from those industries. What we've done is just put ourselves in the shoes of Adidas, and we've put together a custom lesson around some of their products that typically we might see in retail, and subsequently tied it to a few achievements here. And we'll see this hat trick achievement in the app in a second. But before we jump into the inner workings of that, we wanted to also specify that obviously retail and hospitality have common challenges, like staff not having the luxury of learning at their own pace, or potentially the difficulties of constant churn of employees. And also lastly, their COVID throwing a biggest wrench of all time into the works and posing challenges. And I guess reflecting here for hospitality, what achievements, specifically achievements, how can they benefit or improve the scenario here? And obviously, avoiding low morale for me is a clear one. Obviously, bringing that element of fun and excitement and rewards back into the program to combat, I guess, the sentiments and momentum that we just discussed for challenges. Decreasing turnover, obviously, if learners are hooked and they're very much engaged with the business, that will help to decrease turnover. Easier to promote within, so again, aligning with potential levels of a staff's employment and potentially their remuneration as well. And increasing retention is something that we hope to achieve with delivering achievements. So let's now pull over here and have a look at this particular use case in the tool itself and see what we've configured. So if we go back here, I'll just start at the very beginning here. We've put ourselves in the shoes of Adidas, and we've put together these two achievements to mirror potentially their program. So we've got the goal kicker achievement and the hat trick achievement. I'm sure Jamie, everyone in the UK and Europe are all about the soccer achievements. I'm not sure in the US.
Football. We call it football. We call it football.
Football, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Apologies to everybody. So let's have a look at these achievements in action. Firstly, let me go to goal kicker here. So let's explain. So to get the goal kicker achievement, you need to complete one specific course, and that course is the Adidas Predator course. You can see over here the styling. We've added in a nice graphic. We've given it a title. We've added some text, etc., etc. Super simple configuration. If I jump over to the learner experience, and hopefully I can answer that question that was posed earlier around stars, let's go to this Adidas course. This particular course has just got one lesson in it. And if we start the lesson, we can see micro-learning, EdApp micro-learning in action. So let me just move this little tab out of the way and we can have a look. So if you haven't seen EdApp before, this is really the backbone of the platform. We deliver highly engaging, highly graphical, mobile-first micro-learning. And this product example is a really great way to show off the features and what you can do with the tool. Rich visuals, animated GIFs, videos, coupled with multiple choice questions and assessments, for example. Interactive assessments like this sentence construction assessment. Image gallery templates to be able to present different options on screen in a nice, fun way on the mobile. And interesting games here. If we go to this game, we've got a time challenge. The learner is challenged to drag the specific boot into its respective description or title. If I press OK, I'm done. Okay, not quite, but hopefully it did pop up for a second. You may have seen that on this particular question, there was 5 stars on offer. So stars are a way of rewarding the learner for correct answers. And you can add as many or as little stars to questions as you like. Stars are also a great way of representing the importance of a certain question. So if it's 10 stars, then yeah, you should know this. And that metric of getting learners to come back to content to complete and earn those stars is something that we see being super successful. So if I exit and complete this lesson now, you will see, hopefully, let's save that one. The goal kicker achievement has come up. Nice little bit of confetti there. I'll have to go back to high school for the last time I kicked a goal in soccer. Today's the day. You can see here the customizations. Obviously, Adidas have a very subtle branding, so we chose this kind of light background. Got a nice image that we dropped in. We also customized the border, gave it a title, and then huzzah, you've kicked the competition and earned the new level. Awesome. You can see here that there were also other achievements that were tied to this particular completion of this course. So you can see here you've completed one lesson. So these are the other default achievements out of the box that the learner gets when they have completed. You can see at the top here that our star count has gone from 1 to 3 because we answered 2 questions correctly. So yeah, thinking about that question before, hopefully that answers it. The final component of the stars is the star bar. So this is an optional feature to actually give away prizing incentives to your learners, and something that, yeah, perhaps if you wanted more info about, we could send you some links. All right, so if we've earned that achievement, we've discussed the particular configurations that we use to put it together. Let's have a look at another achievement here. Let's go back and still thinking on this retail hospitality use case. Let's have a look at the hat trick. The hat trick is a little bit more involved than just completing one specific lesson. Here we're asking the learner to complete 3 lessons just once, a hat trick. If we look at the styling here, you can see again what we've done with it. We've consistently given it this light background because it's Adidas. We've uploaded a nice graphic for the center here. We've given it the same white border and then added a description down below. So again, these elements are totally configurable, and you will have your own language and potentially language and branding that is specifically built for your own training programs that you want to lean into. So it's super exciting.
And you can, you don't just have to put static images in there either. You can put GIFs. I'm a big fan of GIFs for anyone who knows me. Yeah, you can put moving images in there as well, which is fun.
Awesome. The next one that I want to talk about is again this time in hospitality, and it's a little bit more involved than just one course or one lesson or a couple of lessons. So here we're talking about a kitchen, for example, a restaurant that has a kitchen, and we're hypothetically talking about this achievement called a kitchen safety master. And the kitchen safety master is somebody that has demonstrated that they understand all of the key information of the kitchen to be safe in the workplace. You can see from a styling perspective, we've uploaded a graphic. We've given it the same white background, but we've customized this time the border. And we've also stated down the bottom something that's really quite direct. You've completed all of the safety courses for our kitchen, or you could perhaps name your brand there if that's important. When it comes to the recipe, we want to this time talk about scoring. So this is a master achievement. And in order to get the master achievement, you have to score 100% on the specific courses. And the courses that we've named here are these hospitality courses in this account. Teamwork in the kitchen, food safety hazards, food contamination, kitchen operations. But what we're trying to portray here is that in order to get the master status, perhaps you need to get 100%, which is quite a good effort. If it was perhaps the kitchen safety beginner, perhaps we could have another achievement that is just completing these courses. So you can see how you can kind of incrementally make steps to excellence.
And I think just there, like again, for this, for the audience, I'm not sure how au fait everyone is, but we can certify learning in EdApp, and typically there will be a kind of minimum acceptable score, perhaps 80%. And I think what Luke's showing you here is this is like for in this case it's for overachieving, right? Like fine, you can get your certificate for being kitchen safe or whatever it might be for achieving that minimum score, but here, going back to that reward and recognition, the folks who really invest in their learning and demonstrate that through testing and completion at the highest possible scores, perhaps they are the folks that you want to tap on the shoulder, have that discussion with, to say, you're demonstrating that you're really invested in your career and your development. We can see that you've got the badge that demonstrates your excellence in terms of knowledge. So we want to give you that promotion, or we want to give you that opportunity to move up, or hey, we just want to give you a bonus for being great at your job, right? You don't have to give them any financial remuneration. It can just be about recognizing that, right? Standing up in a room somewhere or on a virtual meeting and saying, I want to call out Luke for doing such a great job. But it gives some tangibility, I think, for people who go above and beyond, or just for achieving steps as they go.
Awesome. Yeah, very well said there, Jamie. This gives us a good opportunity with this particular achievement to talk about translations. Obviously, in kitchen settings, there are many languages spoken in kitchens, as is many workplaces. But here, I was thinking when we were putting this together, perhaps it's a fancy fine dining restaurant in London, and you've got your head of the kitchen who's French and he doesn't speak English. So subsequently, you would like to give this person an achievement in French. The delivery of an additional translation to the language that it's originally written in is very simple to set up. So you just select translation, specify the designated language that you want to move to. For example, if it's Chinese, perhaps add that translation, and then it will add it to the list of options available. And essentially here, it's just simply translating the title, what the learner needs to do to earn the achievement, and then your message below. The translation of the courses themselves, in order to get to this point, are done in another part of the app. But if you know EdApp, you would know translating content is also about that easy. Let's get back now. I'm mindful of time. We've definitely taking everyone's time, but let's get into just a couple of other industries. Let's just quickly run through construction, and we have another example for consumer packaged goods, just to give a little bit more context to other industries. So here we're talking about perhaps some safety training for a construction company. The visuals that we have on the left is this idea of completing certain content and earning our Safe as Houses achievement. And I'll explain that in the tool in just a second. I think here in terms of challenges and benefits, it's a lot of the same themes. Obviously, limited time, limited energy, specifically for construction and field-based workers, little access to laptops. So EdApp's mobile first vision really shines through. Employee churn is always a factor, and using achievements to combat those challenges is all about engaging staff while they're in the field. Typically, field workers, you don't get a lot of time with them to tell them that they're doing a great job. So doing it in a digital setting is quite powerful. Lifting competency, etc., etc. So let's get into the tool here. And I want to show you the achievement that we've put together, our Safe as Houses achievement. Let's go down here. We had another service starter hospitality achievement there, but I think you guys get the picture. In this particular achievement, as I said earlier in the call, opening the app is a great way to ensure that the training is top of mind. And this recipe here is open the app once every week for 6 weeks. From a styling perspective, we can reinforce that message. And you can see here down the bottom, you've kept safety in mind for 6 weeks straight. So I think, thinking about customers that I know in this space, that this is a message that they definitely want to put forth. Any thoughts there, Jamie, before I jump on to the next one? Any questions that I've
Yeah, no,
disregarded?
I think you've done a really comprehensive job here, right? I think achievements are super flexible, and because this is new, we're still trying to figure out all the different use case variations. I think what you've been able to touch on so far are some great examples of what we've seen our customers doing already. What's really exciting, I think, when we launch new features like this is how we see them start to evolve and firms take them off in different directions. Like, I think in terms of questions, we've answered a few as we've gone through. I was literally just typing as you asked me, does anyone have any questions? And I think if you do, now would be the time to jump in and ask them. But I think, the great thing about this, and quite honestly, everything about EdApp is it's intuitive, it's straightforward, it has a defined business need, right? So it doesn't take that much explanation for people to get it, and more importantly, for them to start using it in their business immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can't find out how to do something without our help, then tell us and we'll get back to the design.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly.
Here's that animated GIF that you were hoping for, Jamie.
Ah, yes.
The Cyber Master.
The cyber pony. It's what we've all been waiting for, right? This is what everyone's hung out and waited for.
Absolutely. Let's wait 50
That was going to be my question, like, where are all the gifts, Luke? But you've delivered for me now. So no questions.
There's a Q&A here from Jeff. Hey Jeff, thanks for the question. Jeff was asking, how do I see the collection of achievements from the learner perspective?
Yeah.
And that's probably something that I should have mentioned first. So it's under my profile here, courses, my profile, achievements. And if I click here, you can see as a learner, I earned the goal kicker before, beginner, new starter, all of these basic ones for that single course that I completed. You can see the other custom badges that we've uploaded. And if I click on them, you can see here a description of what the learner needs to do. So this is where you find your achievements or badges.
Cool. I think Jeff snuck in there while I was talking. Jeff, did that answer your question? And any more questions from anyone, or should we wrap? I think it's looking good, Luke. I think everyone, you've kept everyone on the webinar, which is testament to you. Great job. I feel like they're all waiting for the cyber pony. Now we've delivered. I think we can wrap up. But yeah, we just had a few thanks. So yeah, great job, Luke. Really, really helpful. Good to see how versatile achievements are and what they're going to do for our customers.
Lovely. Is there a pay increase on the horizon?
Yeah. Just just slack me, right? We're going to make that happen. No doubt.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Let us know. Reach out if you need help.
Cheers, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.